Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers Kristy.
And I'm Ariel Tienko. And we are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help us all get focused on what's going right in the world.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, sorry we didn't record for Friday-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, the 24th of January, 2022. Oh my goodness, Ariel, we had such a gaffe on Friday. We went on to do our normal recording, and we record the show on Skype. That's just one of the tools that we use. It's the easiest one, right? And Skype's little record button wouldn't work. And Carissa and I just kept hitting record, and it just started and stopped. So once we finally decided that we were going to walk away from Skype and head on over to good old Zoom, we did a test recording on Zoom and confirmed that the audio came through well and we were happy with it. And Carissa said, okay, I'll be right back. I'll meet you in the Zoom room. And then I never heard from her. And she was gone. And I didn't know where she went. And 10 minutes later, she called me to inform me her power was out.
Oh my goodness. So it wasn't for lack of trying that we didn't get the podcast out.
So it was just the universe saying that there would be no fresh pod on January 21st. Instead, we were holding till the 24th. And it was pretty funny, but you know, there were some great stories on Friday. Oddly enough, we had tons of people listening to the podcast on Friday, which was funny because there was no fresh pod. So people were going back into the old stuff.
Into the archives.
Yeah, into the archives. So speaking of recording, have you been to any recording sessions lately other than Optimist Daily Update?
Oh, well, actually, my partner recorded a show for a radio station. So that was really fun to attend. It's actually a friend's radio station. So it was just nice to get out of the house because we hardly do that anymore. How about you? Good weekend?
It's cold. It was cold. Well, actually, I didn't even get to talk about this last week, but Brennan has a little best friend who helped her get through kind of a few rough days of school last week. And on Thursday, she actually didn't want to go to school. And her best friend, you know, these are 2-year-olds, but they decided the way that they would agree to go to school is if they both wore bicycle helmets. So Brennan wore a bicycle helmet all day at school. And you know what? If it works, it works. And then on Saturday, we had a play date and did all the things, but it was too cold for most of the things. So mostly we just ran around the house and Mom tidied up after running around the house. So, just a little bit of a winter weekend. I know we can't really complain because it's only like 30 degrees here. It's a little colder where you are and certainly where some of our other listeners are. But all in all, I'm ready for a good week. There's cardinals on my bird feeder. There's finches flying around. I actually rescued a hawk in Home Depot on Friday. Yep. There was a hawk that had flown into the indoor garden section of our local Home Depot. And I had gone to the Home Depot because I have had to bring in all of our outdoor plants that are potted. And I had to go get river rocks to put on top of the soil because when you have 4 kitty cats and you have tons of indoor plants, you could unintentionally have tons of indoor litter boxes.
Oh, I see.
So I went to Home Depot to go get river rock. And as I went into the section, I saw this beautiful hawk swoop down. And one of the women was working at Home Depot and the hawk was caught. And because it was so cold, they had all the doors closed. So I actually pushed open one of the doors and I went and got someone and I said, there's a hawk in here. We need to let it get out. So we pushed all the doors open and the hawk found its way out. So yes, my bird nerd skills are, just continuing to grow in this winter weather. I am ready for something warm. I think you probably are too, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm really not enjoying the cold weather at this point, but on the other hand, it's a nice time to just hole up in the house. I don't actually watch that much TV, so I was pretty happy this weekend to have the chance to sit down and watch a documentary. And, it wasn't like hawk and birds and stuff, but it's still nature themed because I finally watched My Octopus Teacher.
Oh, you did. You
I
finally
did.
watched it.
Oh man, so
Is it amazing?
heart-wrenching. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I know you haven't watched it yet, right?
I haven't. I haven't, and I need to. I mean, I'll freely admit it's going to be very difficult for me to give up eating octopus, but I'm going to have to.
I mean, once you watch it, it is pretty. You just
Okay.
realize how intelligent these creatures are. But it really made me want to dive deeper into the sea and in the
I was going to
ocean.
say that probably got you in kind of an oceany mood. I'm sure you're missing warm ocean weather. Does that maybe cue up your story for the day?
Oh, yeah, that's perfect, actually, because my story talks about a new coral reef. Well, it's not new, but it's new to us because it was recently discovered off the coast of Tahiti. So, should I just get into the story then?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so this coral reef was miraculously discovered in the depths of the South Pacific Oceans. It's a rare stretch of pristine corals, and it appears to be unscathed by climate change or human activities.
How is that even possible?
I know, right? The person who discovered it is Laetitia Hedouin. Oh man, I'm totally butchering that last name. I can't speak French, but she's from France's National Center for Scientific Research, and she and her colleagues were diving in the depths at about 35 to 70 meters, and they found this reef. Apparently, reefs don't normally grow at this depth.
Right.
So it's especially beautiful because it's primarily made up of these two coral species called Poritus rus, which dominates from 30 to 45 meters deep, and then another one called, oh, I'm going to butcher this too, but Pachyceras speciosa at 50 to 55 meters. At least one of these coral species looks like giant roses. Julian Barbier at UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission says that it looks like a giant rose garden just going as far as the eye can see. And he also says that it's a very healthy reef, which is a dream come true in the middle of a biodiversity crisis. Yeah, maybe there are more coral reefs that can be found at such depths. And this kind of depth is called the twilight zone of the ocean. So it would be really cool if we found more because a lot of people rely on the ecosystems that coral reefs provide. You know, it's good for tourism and it feeds the rest of the fish and marine life that we also feed on. It's just a very important discovery. Maybe there are more, fingers crossed.
Maybe there are more. And you know what I think is also very interesting about this is that it's looking at two different types of coral that have come together to sort of create that vertical coral reef experience and increasing biodiversity. So perhaps it might advise on more sustainable introductions of coral reef nurseries and introducing multiple coral type species together so that we can perhaps recondition and improve some of the coral reefs that have been adversely affected by humanity and climate evolution and climate change. So, you know, I am an avid scuba diver. I love it. I miss it so very much. It's been, goodness gracious, it's been almost 4 years since I went scuba diving, which is not that crazy because like I had a baby and then there was a pandemic and stuff like that. But I deeply, deeply miss the ocean. So thank you for letting us all go on a little adventure deep under the sea. I'm going to fishtail off of your story.
Ooh, good one.
Onto my headline, which reads, World's largest vertical farm will use fish to fertilize the crops. Almost the size of 2 entire city blocks, a sprawling new building under construction in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, will soon hold the title of the world's largest indoor vertical farm. The building, which occupies about 250,000 square feet, is slated for completion in 2023. Not far off. However, the prodigious size of this farm is not what makes it interesting. What actually makes it interesting is the secret ingredient to fertilize the crops: fish. Yes, live fish. That's right. A system created by Upward Farms, the Brooklyn-based company behind the project, taps into century-old practices called aquaponics, which is combining aquaculture and hydroponics. Fish poop is great food for plants. As part of this ancient food production system, the company uses fish waste that it filters from the aquaculture, providing nutrients to the hydroponic grown plants. It removes all needs for synthetic fertilizer, which is often used in other vertical farms to boost crop yield. The fish, as well as the greens, are then sold for food. So the whole system feeds itself and then feeds people. The CEO of Upward Farms, a fellow by the name of Jason Green, said, "What we're really focused on as a vertical farm, which differentiates us from peers, is the microbiome. What's well understood in the microbiome of plants has huge influence on the outcome of those plants from the perspective of quality nutrition yield." This is a great story, right? It's taking knowledge from multiple disciplines in order to create more food, reduce food uncertainty, as well as in areas where you might not be able to get good fresh produce. It's finding a way to continue to offer good fresh produce year round. I love this. I mean, I wish they could make this a tourist site. Like, I'd rather go scuba diving, but if I could go visit the fish farm food place, I definitely would. It's a lot of fun. And if for those of us who do eat fish and still octopus, but maybe not long after this, I think this is a pretty good one.
This story reminds me of Kristy for some reason. I guess it's because of her hydroponic gardens. I wouldn't be surprised if one day we were to walk into her house and she has an aquaponic system in her house with a bunch of fish and just hydroponic plants growing everywhere. If any of us on the team are to do it, I'm sure Kristy would be the one.
I think she probably would. I think we need to challenge her. I'll challenge her next week. I'll be like, "Hey, did you hear Ariel and I?"
It's time to make an aquaponics farm.
Well, it does make me think of her pet fish, sea loss. Anyway, Kristy, we miss you. We're thinking of you. Kristy's on vacation. She'll be back later on this week. Right now, we have other awesome stories on the Optimist Daily today. What else have we got?
We have a very interesting story about bioengineered donkeys. 4,500-year-old grave of bioengineered donkeys uncovered. In other news from Mars, Perseverance finds organic molecules. There's a project that hopes to document the return of glossy black cockatoos after bushfires. And scientists use AI to help uncover causes of motor neuron disease.
In an article that talks about some of the financial disparity and how we're going to get through the pandemic, there is a group of the world's uber rich who wants governments to tax us now. To know what you want from your career, you must first know what you dislike. UK University gives free kits that test for spiked drinks to students, and endangered salmon return to California streams after abundant rains. That and much, much more, as always, is available on the Optimist Daily. Thank you all for listening to today's Optimist Daily update. Happy Monday. We hope you have a great day. And this week, as always, we promise to continue to share positive, solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
If you're not already, please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. For just $5 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism and feel as though you are part of the solution, changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free for all who need it, supported by those who can.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more solutions.